Hi, hey, hello. Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast, the most mark-filled podcast in all of podcast entertainment. My name is Daniel Claus, and I'm joined by Saint Nick, and we are here to talk about wrestling. Happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and every other holiday that I am forgetting. My
Boxing Day.
apologies. Boxing Day. Is it a real thing? Like, I don't
Yeah,
understand what that is.
it's
Like,
a Canadian thing, and I think Australia too. So day after Christmas, and don't forget
gotcha.
Festivus. I think is tomorrow.
This is what we do in Canada. Gotcha. And yes, a Festivus for the rest of us. Yes, everyone enjoy your holiday of choice. We have a ho home run of an episode for you guys here today. We are going to talk about the biggest thing to come out of AEW Dynamite, and that is one Mr. Kyle O'Reilly. He showed up, he debuted, he came out, he attacked Orange Cassidy mid-match so that Adam Cole could pick up a victory over him. And all of a sudden, I care about Bobby Fish. What are the odds of that? That is insane. So fantastic. They all stood together at the end of the match, and the Young Bucks came out looking a little puzzled, a little confused, a little concerned. They weren't sure how to feel about it. They didn't know that Kyle was coming there. Pretty weird considering their ownership of the company. But, maybe they should pay more attention to that instead of focusing on buying silly outfits, and they would know these kind of things. So Adam Cole walked off with his Undisputed Era brethren. I don't know what they'll be called now. I'm interested to find out. But there's some tension there. We don't know when Kenny's coming back, but could we be seeing a Elite versus formerly Undisputed Era match this quickly? I have no problems with that. Saint Nick, how did you like this debut?
First off, I would like to take exception to the fact that you called the Bucks outfits ridiculous. Nick's outfit tonight was amazing. His Christmas themed was suit or lack
Hey,
thereof. I don't know what it was.
ridiculous can be a compliment too.
It was perfect. I want to start with the match. Actually, I liked the match. I thought it had some interesting spots. I liked when Cole tried to cover Orange Cassidy with his hands in his trunks to emulate him having his hands in his pockets. I thought that was a good spot there. It was entertaining. I was expecting a bit more considering it was, I guess, a blow off match, but I guess there's still so much to do there that they'll have more to do down the line. The debut was cool. I think everyone knew it was kind of coming, so it wasn't like blow my socks off awesome like when Punk debuted, or even when Punk debuted. I guess we knew that was coming, but I guess Brian and Cole himself felt a little more, felt like they had a little more gravitas than this, especially because it opened the show, which I thought was weird. Like this huge, or I guess maybe just the internet considers it a bigger debut than everyone else does, but it was such a huge debut, and it opens the show with, I don't want to say little to no fanfare, but less than I would have expected. I do like the fact that after Cole won and he started kicking the shit out of Orange Cassidy, Kyle hopped back in the ring and they had a stare down and they were jawing at each other. So they're not just disregarding everything that happened in the last few months with NXT, because that would have been dumb. And I think that actually makes for a very interesting wrinkle to whatever story is coming between, the group formerly known as Undisputed Era and the Elite, especially the Bucks, because now you have Cole caught between Undisputed Era and the Super Click. You have, Red Dragon floating in there. You have O'Reilly and Cole's tag team, the Super Click. There's so many combinations of everything going on here that there's so much they can do. And then Kenny eventually comes back, and we're going to get a serious payoff to all of this.
Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts in this, and that does make it very, very interesting. There was a sign in the front row that said Fish and O'Reilly are a better tag team than specifically the Hardly Boys, not the Hardy Boys. It was the Hardly Boys. So either that person bought a front row seat and made a sign and misspelled Hardy Boys, or they made a joke that most people aren't going to get and just assume they misspelled Hardy Boys. So kudos to that person, but I guess I'm in the minority where I don't watch Jeff Hardy in AEW, so I don't want to see all these matches, except for maybe the Bucks one. But the match was fun. I agree that it didn't feel like as big of a deal as it should have. The match and the debut, like, because to me, Cassidy and Cole could have easily been like a 20-minute classic on a pay-per-view, and the story's not over yet because they're going to do the 6-man tag on Rampage or next week. I don't remember which one.
I think it's next week on Dynamite, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, so
because I think Rampage seems a little too filled to have it be on Friday.
True. So, we'll see how that plays out. But I do agree that the debut maybe wasn't as big a deal as at the internet we thought it would be. But I think O'Reilly is not on the level of Cole or Punk or Bryan to get that sort of debut, even though his addition is so valuable and has already made so many more things interesting. Like I keep joking about, like Bobby Fish's career, so much more interesting now that Kyle O'Reilly's there. So, I'll take a FTR versus Red Dragon match. I'll take Red Dragon versus Lucha Bros, Jurassic Express. Like I want to see them face everyone. So, I did not care about Fish literally a week ago. So that's how important Kyle O'Reilly's presence is. But yeah, that was the big debut.
Fish is definitely far more interesting in that tag team than he is as a solo guy, at least in my opinion. I mean, you can even look at NXT when they split up, and he just kind of fell by the wayside where Cole and O'Reilly are, having main event feuds.
I kind of just, because I haven't been watching NXT, I kind of assumed he was just injured the whole time. Like, I didn't even know he was still on NXT
he honestly
TV.
might have been at that time. He might have been. I genuinely don't know. He does get hurt a lot.
Yeah, which hopefully he doesn't, now that he's the big part of what is, I can only imagine, going to be a huge story for the first half of 2022 for AEW. So stay healthy, Fish, and Kenny, whenever you're ready to come back and add some more spice to this, by all means.
Can we also just talk about the fact that AEW now has the Undisputed Era? Like, I mean, they just carried NXT for the last, 4 years or something, it felt like?
More or less, yeah.
And now AEW has them. Like, what is WWE and NXT thinking getting rid of these guys? Like, I understand perhaps like they were done there and they had done all they could do, and with the rebrand, and then I don't think any of those guys fit on the main roster. But the fact that you mismanaged that brand so poorly, in my opinion, that you lose these 3 guys to a major competitor is just unbelievably stupid.
Yeah, it's not a good look for WWE. I guess in their defense, it wasn't for lack of trying with O'Reilly and Cole. They walked Fish. I think he got fired, which, if you're going to let one guy go in that group, it's
he was, yes, Fish was released.
But, there was a time, there absolutely was a time in 2019, I was at the Raw after WrestleMania, and there was so many rumblings in the crowd, and everyone thought that the Undisputed Era was going to debut, and everyone was ready for it. They were doing that Kofi versus Seth championship match. Both their titles were on the line, and everyone knows you're not getting a finish to that match. And that's already bad booking on the company's part as it is. But
shocker,
people were thinking, okay, like the only thing that makes us not getting the finish okay is if it's like the Undisputed Era running out to jump them or to set something else. Because we didn't want to see like an Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins match. That sounds fantastic. I would have taken that, but they didn't come out. Instead, the Bar came out, and then we got a shitty tag match to close the show. And You know, no offense to the Bar because they are great, but like, come on, this is night after Mania. You're doing a title for title match, and then it ends in a just a normal tag. And so there was a time where I think Undisputed Era could have come up and made an impact. But once you break them up, like that's kind of the nail in the coffin for any chance of them on the main roster. Like they needed to be a group to debut. They didn't have to always remain a group, but to debut on the main roster, they needed to be together. So the fact that they were in NXT for so long that they broke up down there, yeah, that was the nail in the coffin for them. For everyone but Adam Cole, who would have died in a way different looking coffin with cut hair and a new name.
Yep, the middling in the mid card, jobbing next to Ricochet.
Yep. Ricochet, company guy, loves his job for some reason. Gotta love it. But yeah, so we'll see what whatever the Undisputed Era is called in AEW. We'll see how they do going forward. I'm looking forward to it though. Some of the other noteworthy things from Dynamite. On January 5th, we will be getting Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page 2 for the title with judges, so that if it goes to a time limit, the judges can decide the winner. I don't have strong feelings about this. I don't think it's like, I think it sounds kind of lame, but I think it'll be all right. But like, so I'm not gonna, indict it. My only thing is, I actually wish we had more time between these two matches. Like, Kenny and Bryan had their draw, and we haven't seen them wrestle again. I would like this to be spaced out a little longer. But, that's me complaining that I'm gonna get a 5-star match again in a couple of weeks instead of in like a couple months. So,
yeah. Well, I imagine they're doing it because it's their first episode on TBS. So that's why they're making that move there. I agree. I wish it did have maybe another week of build instead of just 2, like if it had 3 or 4. But say love you. If I remember correctly, very, very early in AEW's history, there was a title match with judges. I cannot remember which one it was off the top of my head, but they had it, and the judges did not come into play because there was a finish. I imagine the same thing's going to happen here.
Yeah,
like they haven't used that in, was it 2 years, 3 years? Whenever AEW started, I forget how long ago it was. It was 2 years, so they haven't used it in 2 years, and now they're finally bringing it back. I don't imagine them having it go to another time limit draw and then having the judges do it, because I feel like that just kills Hangman. Even if he, like, assuming he gets that judge's decision, like, that seems just so lame to have him keep the title. Like, I guess it kind of protects Bryan, especially if you get a split decision, but like, it just, I don't know, it just feels weird. Like, it feels to me like he needs to beat Bryan clean. And I do like the idea of judges in a general sense, though, because eventually somebody's going to pay somebody off, or, you're going to have a screw job with one of the judges, and that'll be good. But this is neither the time nor place for that, especially considering it's only the second time they've used it.
Yeah, because I genuinely do not remember the first time at all. But it's like it's one of those things. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't pinpoint it. But yeah, I don't think it's going to go to a judge's decision at all. I think maybe they'll tease that it will, and Hangman will win in the last 5 minutes. But even then, I don't know if they're going to have another nearly hour-long match on TV again so soon, because that's not the kind of thing you can do like over and over again. As much as it'll be good, but like you can't just keep doing something just because it's good. So I'm a little interested to see, and that's again more of the reasons why I wish this was spread out more, because I don't think it's wise to have 2 hour-long matches within 3 weeks, 4 weeks of each other. But I'll give it a chance and see what comes of it, because Bryan is in rare form and is doing some amazing work. So, this match will be amazing too. I have no doubts about that.
I'm seeing on AEW's website that the Cody versus Chris Jericho title match had judges. I don't see who they were. It was just announced that they were going to have them.
That sounds like a Cody thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back all the way in 2019. So they haven't done it in a while. And I think they did it possibly for the inaugural title match too. Let me just double check that, but my computer's so slow. This is great radio.
That's still on.
No, it was just a Cody match because it was for the 60-minute time limit draw. So I mean, like I said, they did it once before and they're bringing it back now, and I'm okay with it as long as it doesn't really get involved in the finish, unless they just have Hangman completely, to go for the unanimous decision there. But I don't think they would do that to Bryan. So I'm very early prediction here, but I think Hangman wins that clean.
Yeah,
and in about 40 minutes, I think they go 40.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because then you're teasing the 60, but it doesn't get all the way there. Because you're right, another entire 60-minute clinic like that, it's I want to say overkill, but you got to pick your spots.
Exactly. So we'll see a couple weeks from now how that plays out. The only other noteworthy thing that we have to make note of here is that Ruby Soho advanced in the Conan O'Brien on TBS title tournament, defeated Nyla Rose. It was Rev, what did you think of this match?
It was good. I mean, I like Nyla. I don't love her in the ring. She's great on Twitter and she's always pretty good on Sammy's vlog, but she's not my favorite in the ring. She's definitely gotten a lot better since AEW started, even when she had the title. But it was good. Ruby, I don't know if she actually got hurt, but if she didn't, that was some god tier selling, because she was selling her shoulders so bad. So hopefully she's not hurt and it was just a work, but holy shit, that looked bad. But she won and she hit a sweet, I don't know what she's calling it now, no future, I think, off the top rope for Nyla, which was a really cool finish to the match. So good for Ruby. I'm glad she's in the finals. I think she gets the winner of Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill, which either of those would be a really cool matchup. I believe that match is on Friday, the Rose Cargill match. So I'm hyped to see who wins this tournament. It's taken a while, and I've said my piece about how long it's taken to get here, but it's finally coming to a head, and I'm here for whoever wins it.
Well, yeah. Now that the people we have left that could possibly win it, all the options are intriguing. And I honestly have no qualms with any one of the three winning. So that'll be good. And yeah, hopefully.
I wanted to say, fuck that bigoted sign in the front row there. I hope whoever that was got thrown out and is banned from all AEW events, because that's bullshit. Fuck out of here with that.
Oh yeah, I only noticed that because you guys pointed it out. If you're watching, person in Greensboro? Right?
Yep, North Carolina.
Fuck you, but yeah, hopefully Ruby is okay and is just that good at selling. Nothing else really super crazy from Dynamite. Fun show.
I think the only other thing was MJF almost died, but
yes, that was a crazy spot. FTR did not even try to hide the fact that they were instantly checking up on MJF to see if he was okay. They did not even pretend.
He got launched. He went way too far.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you haven't seen, check out Sting, Darby, and Punk's face paint from that match. Very cool.
Surfer Sting Punk.
The only thing missing from the image of the three of them was a little Danhausen in the front, but other than that,
very evil.
Amazing image. So that's pretty much all for Dynamite. Fun show, nothing over the top crazy besides Kyle O'Reilly showing up. But in some other wrestling related news, man, the hardcore AEW fans probably gonna hate this segue, but so Happy Corbin, right? Or most people will know him Baron Corbin, or maybe even King Corbin. He's had a few monikers already. He recently was on Ryan Satin's Out of Character podcast, and he was just talking about a bunch of things. And I thought there was some interesting notes to come out of there. The main couple of ones being that after the 2019 Extreme Rules match where he had an end of days on Becky Lynch, he received a few death threats from fans who were, I guess, super offended and outraged that he hit a women's wrestler with a wrestling move that they threatened to kill him, which, you know, I think is worse in the scheme of things.
Yeah, I want it on record, despite the fact we are both huge Becky fans. Neither of us sent those in.
Yes. I think I've advocated enough on this podcast that I have no problem with women taking bumps from men in fucking wrestling. If you have a problem with that, you shouldn't watch anything with any sort of violence in it. But I thought it was funny because, you know, that's like an old school heel thing when you get that much heat, you get death threats, you know, and like you were saying before this, before the podcast, you know, on the age of social media, it's really easy to send a death threat to someone, but I think those are like very hollow and don't hold any kind of water. But like, you know, Corbin is very believable. He's very good at his job, clearly, that he is receiving such threats. And some of the other funny notes from this podcast was that he learned via Twitter, like we all did, about his name change to Happy Corbin. He was not told that ahead of time. He saw the same reports we did. That's how he found out. He went and asked some people backstage, and they denied it for a couple weeks until they finally came up to him and were like, yeah, we're going with Happy Corbin. That's going to be your new moniker. So I thought that's hilarious. It's a nice, we get these confirmations every once in a while from wrestlers that they find out these sort of things from Twitter, just like we do. So as funny as that is, that's terrible for a job to be like that, for you to find things out.
I mean, it could have been worse. We've heard of wrestlers hearing about their release on Twitter.
Yeah. So
WWE's communication system is broken as fuck.
It's crazy because you got to think that, you know, that's coming from the top. It's going down a couple of layers, and then somewhere in that, it's getting leaked to the outside, to the public, before it trickles all the way down to the employees or the independent contractors. So it's kind of crazy. And the only other thing that I thought was kind of funny is that, you know, when Baron Corbin started his road to Happy Corbin, he was down in his luck. He was losing all his matches. He was losing all his money. And Vince texted him at 2 a.m. to say, stop shaving so he could look disheveled. And man, did it work, because I don't know if you remember what Baron Corbin looked like with hair, but he was balding with long hair. So him just not shaving his head for a few weeks really did the trick. And I don't know. I know you haven't been watching, but like, you know, what do you think about all these Baron Corbin or Happy Corbin stories?
Well, I was going to say, I did see, I don't know if it was from the same podcast or not, but I did see another comment about Corbin where he was saying, I was walking around all disheveled looking. I couldn't shave my head. I couldn't shave my beard. And I was like going into places apologizing for my looks. It's like, it's from my job. I'm so sorry. You kind of hit on one of my points about the death threats. Like nowadays, it's so much easier to just like type out, I'm going to fucking kill you at Baron Corbin and tweet it. And especially anonymously, like there's just not as much gravitas to it as there used to be, because back in the day, if you wanted to threaten somebody, you had to wait outside for them at a show, or like sending a letter, and sending a letter is quite a bit of effort. And by the time you write it, to kind of borrow a line from Craig Ferguson, you're not going to be angry anymore anyway. So, but I mean, I don't know to what level those got to, but I mean, geez, people, calm the fuck down. It's wrestling. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and you know what? Becky got her payback a few months later on like the first SmackDown on Fox, you know?
Yeah.
Her and The Rock beat up Baron Corbin. So, you know,
that was
he got his back.
That end of day spot was so good, though. He got, and you know, again, as a Becky guy, he got nuclear heat for that.
Yeah, like how are you gonna have a match like that and not do it? Like, of course, like you got to do it.
Yeah, and then Seth murdered him. It was such a good end to that match. I don't know what people were mad about.
Yeah. Corbin's honestly, he's good at his job. He's not the most exciting in the world, but he is good at his job. He does whatever they ask, and he does it to the best of his ability.
I've always really liked him because despite the fact he doesn't always get good shit to work with, he does his best to make it entertaining, and he always gets some semblance of heat for it. I mean, he's done things where he's gotten such good heat, where like hitting Becky with the end of days. He's also done things where he was making fun of Roman the big dog and getting mascots and dumping dog food on Roman's head. Like, but no matter what he does, you know, he's a pretty good promo. He gets the heat and the booze you want. And I really enjoy his moveset in the ring. That dude is fast as hell. They always say he was a former Golden Gloves guy, so his punches are crisp. I always like that spot where, you know, he slides out of the ring, slides back in, kills somebody. Deep six and end of days are sick signature and finisher moves.
I always say that Baron Corbin, it's funny because he used to be the guy that would get into arguments, and a lot of his heat used to come from like shitting on indie wrestling and the indie wrestlers because he was just the guy who wasn't an indie wrestler. So that was how he used to get his heat. But like, the guy has the most indie moveset I've ever seen. Like, bro, like you said, deep six, end of days, those are indie moves. Him ducking out of the ring, coming around the ring post, sliding back in with the clothesline, that's an indie move. Everything this dude does is an indie move. It's just all the rest holds in between that kind of bog down his matches. But like, all of his actual moves are top notch.
Yeah, I mean, he's a perfect, I don't want to say, but he's such a perfect WWE lifer built from the ground up. And
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure Triple H was very high on him. So he might be one of Triple H's most successful projects if we think about it from NXT.
Okay, I'm going to ask you right now. I'm going to put you on the spot. Does Baron Corbin ever win the world title?
I don't think so. I think he could be a viable contender for it. Maybe he gets one. Like, you know, like maybe he gets like a Miz type run. But I don't particularly see it. I mean, didn't he have the briefcase and lost? He had the Money in the Bank and lost to Cena, right? I think.
Well, no, he lost to Jinder. Cena cost him the match. He got him. He just knocked him, and Jinder rolled him up. Because remember, Jinder Mahal used to be WWE champion.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Oof. But
yeah. So I mean, yeah, but you know, if Jinder could get it, maybe he could. You know, maybe they gave him one. I mean, shit, they gave Rey Mysterio one, if you know, and it was for an hour. So I guess they could squeeze one in.
Oh God, yeah. I somehow forgot about that.
Well, everyone forgets about that. This title wave was literally the length of Raw.
Poor guy. But yeah, that's way more Baron Corbin than any wrestling podcast normally talks about. So to move on, but to stick in the WWE bubble, and bubble is maybe the key word to use here in this situation, but
all right, Travolta.
Several WWE stars and staff have tested positive for COVID, reportedly. They've been doing some more house shows again, and some of the stars are feeling a bit sluggish, so they got tested, and some of the staff got tested, and some of them have been coming back positive. Some of them are still waiting for results. Some of them are good, but we don't know who yet. Maybe from the time we're recording this to the time it comes out, those names do come out. If so, hope everyone's good. But this might have big implications. The Christmas episodes of both shows are filmed, so it's not going to affect those. But there's a MSG house show on Boxing Day in MSG, and I know I have like a triple threat cage match between Liv, Bianca, and Becky, I believe. Roman Reigns versus someone, I don't know. But we'll see what happens with that show. We'll see what happens with all of WWE's live touring, because they do have plans in place reportedly for any sort of next wave of COVID shutdowns. So if they're not allowed to go to an arena, they're pretty much ready to bust out the Thunderdome again if they need to, which, as nice as the Thunderdome was, and as much of it was an improvement over, having no crowd or having the NXT wrestlers in the crowd. It just doesn't compare to having a live crowd. But at least they are prepared for this situation, and they won't be caught off guard like, all shows and companies and everything were when COVID first struck. So Rev, I mean, I know, like anyone else, you hope that everyone is good and not too sick, but what do you think about this? Was this something that was inevitable? Is it something you're surprised didn't happen sooner? Like, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously this is coinciding with the recent increase in positive tests across the country with this new variant, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce because no one seems to know how to pronounce it, whether it's Omicron or Omicron Persei 8 or whatever the hell it is. But obviously this is a weird situation. I think both companies, or all companies, but WWE and AEW especially, are going to have to start preparing to perhaps going back into their previous iterations during COVID. Like you said, the Thunderdome. I believe Dave Meltzer was speculating where WWE might go, and Tropicana Field, which is where I believe the final iteration of the Thunderdome was, is probably their best bet because they can't go back to Orlando because the Magic are in season, and other stadiums are currently in use because of hockey. So considering there's a baseball lockout, forget the fact baseball's not even in season, they can't even play. Tropicana seems like a pretty good bet. Obviously, AEW can just go back to Jacksonville and perform at Daly's Place again. So it looks like they could be pretty set if that happens. I'm interested to see what happens for the MSG house show, not just because of these positive tests, but because of the spiking cases in New York City itself. Obviously, the city once again has been hit very hard by this, and hopefully everybody watching this has been okay. But if the mayor or the governor decides to, change things up with the COVID restrictions, as of now, you need to be vaccinated to go into the Garden. I was there a couple weeks ago for Ranger games, so I know. But I don't know if they're going to add, you have to have the booster at some point to that, or perhaps just not have crowds again. Well, we don't know. So I know it's only a few days away, but a lot can change in a few days. I mean, last time we went to a shutdown, I left on a Thursday to go to the Poconos for my buddy's bachelor party weekend. I came back on Monday and New York City was abandoned. So a lot can change in 4 days. So we'll see. Hopefully shit doesn't hit the fan to that extent. Everyone's okay and we can get through this again. But I think it is in the best interest of both companies to prepare for life in, for lack of a better phrase, solitude again.
Yeah, shout out to Morris Park for having one of the highest COVID rates in all of New York. Good job. Yeah, we'll see. I don't want things to go back to Thunderdome, but
yeah,
it is what it is. These is just the times we live in, folks.
Well, I don't think the crowd difference is going to be that big because I've seen some pictures of recent WWE crowds and they are not pretty.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the crowds have been really dead the past couple of weeks, so maybe having the piped-in Thunderdome noise would just be better.
I'm fairly certain they're piping in the crowd noise anyway.
Yeah, I know, but when they're mixed together, it sounds terrible. At least if the Thunderdome, they obviously have to pipe in crowd noise, so I'm not offended by it. Whereas when they do now, I'm like, come on. Like, I can see these people sitting on their fucking hands, and you're gonna tell me that like Austin Theory is getting mega heat? Like, come on.
Yeah. What people are there? The last picture I saw from a Raw show was somebody was sitting opposite the hard cam, and the hard cam side was completely tarped off. Like the lower bowl too, completely tarped off. So from behind the announce desk all the way to the ramp. So they are not selling tickets right now. I don't know if that's a combination of COVID or just the product is terrible. Well, you know which way I'm leaning.
I think,
but
it's definitely is a combination. But I think that we get here regardless because Raw did draw its fourth lowest number ever this past week. 1,552,818 people, more or less, watched Raw this past
Give or
Monday.
take.
Yeah, give or take. Some people fell asleep with their TV on, or
So
some
yeah,
people.
Raw will do that to you.
It really will. I haven't watched Raw like without fast forwarding through most of it in so many years. I don't think I could sit through a full episode without having to be there live. And being there live, even that's like a slog to get through. So
Yeah, I've heard the same.
It's a combination of the two. It's one of those things where the product's been so stale that like even when they have good weeks, it doesn't matter because I don't think 1 or 2 good weeks is really going to make a difference. I think they're at a point where you have to be consistent, and then over time you'll get people back. But there's no quick fix to this. There's no bringing Goldberg in for like a couple weeks or a quick title run that's gonna fix that. It's really just a matter of like quality. And hell, look, they did it on SmackDown. SmackDown gets higher ratings than Raw now. That never used to be the case.
Well, to be fair, SmackDown is on network television. It's on Fox, so comparing that to USA isn't. It's not 1-to-1 comparison there, but you're not wrong.
Channel 9, which was everyone at Channel 9 back in the day, but it's a matter of doing. I mean, SmackDown, yeah, granted it's on Fox, but they treat it like the A show now. They put all their effort into it, and another crucial thing is it's only 2 hours. You can only make people watch something for so long before it gets boring, and to do it every week. And I know like it's a little funny coming from like us because we're baseball fans and baseball games are long and there's 162 of them, and
yeah, but that's what the beer is for.
Yeah, there's not enough beer in the world for wrestling right now, but it's like I don't know. There's no quick fix, in my opinion. Where do you see this going? Do you think this is just because I think it's fair to say either way. Like if you think that it's just, ratings have just gone down every year. People watch TV less and less, and to a degree that's true. But do you think this is more of a reflection of the times or a reflection of the product?
Yes. No, I do think it's both. I obviously think part of it is due to the fact that people don't watch traditional TV anymore. There are less and less people with cable or satellite, including me, someone who watches as much TV as I do. I don't have cable at my home. I use my mom's cable login and get all the apps, so I don't have one, and many other people our age don't either because it's just money we don't have to spend. So that's part of it, but I do think a lot of it is the product. Like you said, 3 hours is just too much. A lot of their effort goes into SmackDown. I'm literally just agreeing with everything you say because I don't watch the show, so I don't really know what else to say other than it's probably just not good anymore. I mean, even when I was watching it, I could watch Raw if I DVR'd it in 50 minutes. I like just fast forwarding, skipping. I was skipping entrances and stuff, but going through commercials, recaps, whoever it replaced Michael Cole running his yap, and just everything that wasn't a match or a promo, I could get through it in 50 minutes. And if you're only giving me 50 minutes of content in a 3-hour show, what the fuck am I going to watch it for? It's just not worth it. And honestly, going back to the live stuff, I've heard it's worse live. I remember I read there was a thread on Square Circle a couple of maybe last week where somebody was like, yeah, I was at an AEW show and then I went to Raw, and it's unbelievable how much they just don't care about the customer at Raw. Like when you're there and they're at commercials, they don't do anything. For example, the guy said, he was like, yeah, Seth Rollins comes out before commercial, his music hits, and he just sits around the ring for 5 minutes while the commercials are on. Maybe his music is playing, maybe it wasn't. I think he said it wasn't, and then his music kicked on like maybe a minute or 30 seconds before they came back from commercial. and there's just nothing going on. At least with AEW, Justin Roberts is there talking to everybody, trying to keep everyone hyped up, like being like, "Hey guys, guess what's next?" Trying keeping you rolling. So just if you just the dead energy of that crowd because the product is so bad, and then having that dead energy translate onto TV is going to lower your TV ratings too. So I just think Raw is in a really, really bad spot right now, and I genuinely don't see how they're going to turn it around unless there is a huge culture shift at WWE.
Yeah, so I do want to add a little bit more onto what you were just saying about, being there live. It's not even just that, because like I vaguely remember back when Justin Roberts was in WWE, he used to play around the crowd in between like commercials and stuff, but there's a lot of commercial breaks on a 3-hour show. And when, let's use Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins makes an entrance. They cut to commercials, the entrance is going on. They play 3 to 5 minutes worth of commercials. They come back from commercial. They don't cut right to Seth Rollins in the ring. They play a replay of what happened with Seth Rollins last week. And now, recently, they've been doing things where they'll have, a backstage interview with someone completely different, unrelated to the person in the ring. So, like, they'll have, like, Bianca Belair have an interview about her 5th match in a row with fucking Doudrop. Like, and then they'll cut back to Seth Rollins in the ring. So now, instead of having 3 to 5 minutes between Seth's entrance and him starting to talk because of commercials, there's about 8 to 11 minutes of time from when Seth first entered to when he starts talking. So if you're in the crowd, how can you possibly be as excited when he finally starts talking as opposed to when he came out, whether you were there, whether you were going to boo him or cheer him or whatever? And how can you, even if you just think about it, you just watch this dude come out, make an entrance, and then stand in the ring doing nothing for now 8-9 minutes because he came out and then someone else cut a backstage promo and something unrelated.
Yeah, or they have that like progressive match flow thing because they need a sponsorship and they show a highlight from last week.
Yeah, so it's like that's so jarring, and it makes like just format-wise, it's so stupid. Like if you're there in the crowd, you're like, why is this dude just standing here this whole time? Like, why did he come out so soon? Why couldn't he just come out now after you did that interview, after you showed the replay, then you have him come out? And like, I don't know, like maybe this is reflective of me having like a bad attention span, but I actually really like the entrances. It's one of the, sometimes I'm more interested in the entrances than whatever's going to happen after, especially with certain people. Maybe not Seth's. Like, I don't like all the changes to Seth's entrance music. And, I know for like weeks I kept saying that, Sami Zayn was going to stay. Like, he's become such a WWE character that he's going to stay. But, and he probably is. But now I'm upset about it because they changed his music and I hate it. So it's now I wish he would leave because they ruined him. I can't
bring back ska.
But, I do like the entrances. I like to see how the crowd's reacting. I always like the entrances, especially when, WWE matches become so formulaic, especially the first couple minutes of them, that I'd rather fast forward through that, honestly.
Yeah, that's another reason I stopped watching too, is because the first 5 minutes of the match are the same. Like yeah, I was literally watching Raw calling matches. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, I get it. It's the same thing. And then, all right, like, maybe the end's a little different. It's like, okay, wait, here comes a run in and we don't get a finish and that's it.
Yeah. But, there's only so many different types of matches you can have. And 3-hour show for fucking 9 years now. It's been 3 hours.
Yeah. You know what? I got to say too, what you're talking about where, they have the entrance and you have 8 or 9 minutes of just dead space. It translates on TV too. I know you have commercials and you're seeing these backstage promos or progressive match flows or whatever they are. And I understand they do the entrance before the commercial to tease you to stick around. But I'm going to wait 10 minutes just to see Seth Rollins either start cutting a promo or start his match, and by the time that starts he's probably stiff as a board because he's come out and stood there and done nothing for 10 minutes.
Or
Like,
5 minutes, less than 5 minutes into the match, it's going to be another commercial break.
yeah, exactly. Like it's
And the thing you
their
just said,
pacing is so bad, and I wish they would just let heels in that instance just cut promos on the crowd and get them to boo. That they
yeah,
used to do that, and they don't do that anymore. At least
yeah.
that keeps you entertained.
And like you just said, they show the entrance before the commercial to tease you, so you want to stick around to see what he's going to say. But if you come back from commercial and you're showing anything else but what he's about to say, like, what was the point of the tease? Like, how interesting or important is it that like it's not the first thing I see when you come back from commercial? Like, it's a jarring format, and these. It's not like this is the reason that the ratings are so low, but these are all the things that compound and they add up, and for every person it's different. Like, what's the straw that broke the camel's back for you? And some people it's all the camera cuts, some people it's the format, some people it's the repetitive matches. Like one thing, yeah, I keep saying it. This is almost it's borderline affected my enjoyment of AEW, where it's like I don't want to see rematches in AEW because WWE has ruined rematches for me because they just beat them into the ground. So that's why I'm like, no, I want Kenny and Brian or Hangman and Brian to wait like months to have their match, or like it's because I've been conditioned by WWE to hate fucking rematches because I know if I see a match once, I'm going to see it 5 times in 2 months. Like it's, there's all these things, and for everyone it's different. Everyone had a final moment that kind of ruined it for them, but ultimately, I was gonna make a joke about it's still higher than AEW's, which is only a joke because it's not a fair comparison to make to a new company. But AEW's first episode had 1.6 million people watching, which is a little bit more than this episode of Raw. So for all those people who want to keep using Raw's established ratings as some sort of victory, even that's kind of slipping.
Dynamite is consistently in the top 5, for their slot. So, or for the day, I think, in the demo. So, and I know this because Tony Khan spent an entire day attacking Fox News, which was amazing. But, they're consistently top 5, sometimes top 3, depending on, what's going on with games and stuff. If it's not just NBA Wednesday, but other high-ranking games are on. So, they're doing very well. It's always the 2 NBA games, the challenge, and them. So, yeah. And Raw I don't think Raw averages that well. I would have to check that. I'm speculating, but I don't think they're consistently in the top 5.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. So
Monday Night Football is definitely on top, and then you go from there.
Yeah. But, they have their established audience of Stockholm Syndrome victims. I'm one of them technically, so I don't have any problem making these kind of jokes and comparisons. But
I got out, luckily.
Out here, it is Stockholm Syndrome.
It is.
It 100% is. Okay. Like, and that's okay ish to a degree, as long as you know that,
Yeah. I mean, I was doing it for so long. I was like, all right, Raw is on. Like, I'll start it at 9 and be, and catch up by 10:30 and watch the last half hour. And then I didn't have a DVR anymore. And that was literally the thing that was my straw. I didn't have a DVR anymore and I just didn't want to watch it 3 hours straight.
It's impossible. It's impossible to watch without DVR.
Yeah.
But
SmackDown less so, but it's also on Friday, which makes it difficult.
Yeah. Even now, like, honestly, I keep talking like SmackDown's so much better. SmackDown is in a rut too. It's the Roman Reigns show, and even that story is losing interest fast.
At least I like this new Paul Heyman angle, though. I mean, that wasn't on the doc, but we might as well talk about it because we have nothing else to do this week. I like this Paul Heyman angle where he got fired by Roman last week for I think it was because Paul said I was protecting you from Brock. And Roman fired him and Superman punched him. And then Brock came down and, saved Paul. So it's interesting to see where this goes. I think everybody thinks that it's going to end up with a double cross by Paul against Brock. It's probably, was it day 1 or whatever they're calling their next pay-per-view?
Yes.
So, or as Miz called it, January 1. So But I
I
mean,
mean,
hey, maybe they, just gotta swerve them, bro, and maybe Paul does realign with Brock. Either way, at least it's something semi-interesting and new to this whole endless Brock Roman feud.
that's true. It is finally progress because it's been a lot of the same thing for a while now. But I one it is called Day One, which is nice naming a pay-per-view after like the Usos thing, and it fits the New Year's thing. But I think it means 100% they're losing the tag titles on the pay-per-view named after them because that's the most WWE thing I've ever heard. But I hope that this is a double cross and that Paul is still with Roman because I'll be honest, Paul Heyman completes this like group, this alignment. Like he doesn't do all the talking for Roman. Roman does plenty of talking on its own, but like Paul just adds so much to the act. And without Heyman, I really like I'm already semi-checked out with this. And if Heyman's done and just completely realigned with Brock, I'm completely checked out, man. I don't care. Like,
Yeah. I'm liking this Brock better too. Not better, but like I'm liking this new spin where he's just Farmer Brock with the flannel and the overalls, and he's actually saying shit for himself and cutting his own promos. And you're being reminded how motherfucking funny this dude can be.
Yeah, he does have some good comedic time, and his interactions with Sami Zayn were good. I do. The look has grown on me. I still think his hair looks kind of stupid. I think he's too broad. Like his body is too big for that. Like it doesn't work for me. I don't want to say anything too mean because it's Brock.
Because it's Brock Lesnar. He looks like a Viking. He looks like a farmer Viking.
I can't reference who I think he looks like because it's so obscure that literally no one would know who I'm talking about. But I think it looks kind of silly, but everything else about it is good. It's good. Like it's grown on me. The look, it's stupid, but it works. Like it's it makes sense. Although I think he should come in with what are those hats called? Like the snow hats that have the flaps on the side.
Oh, like the Russian bomber hats.
Yeah, he should come in with one of those. That would I think that would fit him very well.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I was gonna say it's cool that he has this look now because he's not with Paul, and I imagine Paul would keep him rather, I don't know, corporate, so to speak, because then he's got the Jimmy John sponsors and he's wearing his shirts all the time. He's always looking like that, and now Paul's with Roman, which again I think you're right that Roman completes that group. It worked. They all work so well together. Paul being afraid of what he's unleashed in the tribal chief and everything. I think that's really cool. But now you have Brock, who's detached from Paul, and he's more being himself. And I think it's a cool spin on again this feud that we've been having since God knows when with the two of them.
I mean, if you want this iteration since SummerSlam, but originally since WrestleMania 31.
Is that the play button one? What's that?
Yes.
Yeah. I can't remember the names after 30 because it's play button, skull, Mardi Gras, this, like, I don't even remember the names anymore.
Which one was the roller coaster one?
It was just in Orlando. I have no idea what number it is. This is why I need James.
Yeah. I want to say 33 was the roller coaster one, but I don't know.
That makes sense to me. Undertaker lost, and I think it was 33. So
probably. I don't know. I stopped watching WrestleMania main events since Roman Reigns has been in them, but sorry, it's just can't be bothered. It was the Triple H one. That was really the straw that I was like, I can't watch these main events anymore.
That's fair.
But okay, so I'm gonna ask you right now, since it's Christmas, wherever you are out there, whenever you're watching this, it's 100% Christmas. Even if you're watching it 2 weeks from now, it's definitely Christmas. So, Saint Nick, what would you put on your wrestling Christmas list? If you could ask Santa Claus for anything wrestling related, What would it be? Would it be for Danhausen to get a contract? Would it be for someone to jump ship like to AEW? Would it be for what would be on your Christmas wish list for wrestling?
Danhausen getting an AEW contract is definitely on there. Very nice, very evil. He needs to get his money. This is a good one. Kenny, I want Kenny to come back when he's ready, but I definitely want him. Kenny coming back is definitely something I'm very much looking forward to at some point. I wanted Kevin in AEW, Kevin Owens, but that's obviously not going to happen unless he unfortunately gets let go, which, as much as I'd like it, you don't want to see a man lose his job like that. So, yeah. I think you kind of stole my thunder with Danhausen. Like, I think that's my biggest one. What do you got? And you stole for me so I can think.
I want Paige to wrestle again. That's what I want. She said that 2022 was going to be a good year. That doesn't mean anything, but when a wrestler says something vague like that, there's always some sort of implications there. And yeah, I just want Paige to wrestle again. Like I love Paige. Paige is one of my all-time favorites. Is Becky, Beth Phoenix, Paige. Those are like my three for women's wrestling, and I want to see all three of them, honestly. But I think we are going to get Beth soon, and it's in the context I don't want. I don't want to see her and Edge versus Miz and Maurice, but we're definitely going to get that. But I would like Paige to just have a little retirement tour and get to wrestle a couple matches. I'd love to see her and Becky now that Becky is who Becky is. I'd love to see her and Bayley now that Bayley who Bayley is. Or, not gonna lie, I'll see Paige versus Britt Baker. I think that'd be
awesome.
So yeah, that's mine. Is I hope Paige is healthy and it's possible for her to wrestle. Since this is fantasy and everything, that's mine.
I want Bayley to come back.
It's soon enough. I think sometime the first half of 2022
Rumble
coming back. Maybe I've seen her do like some light cardio, so Rumble might be too soon, but wrestlers are fucking superhuman and make these amazing like recoveries. So
yeah,
you can never say never with a wrestler. They will find a way to recover in time for a Royal Rumble. That's just what they do.
I think they're just like drawing blood from John Cena and figuring out the super soldier serum that allows him to heal so quickly to get everybody back soon. Plus, they lie. So that'd be cool if she came back for the Rumble.
Yeah, we'll see. And hopefully we have a Rumble in front of fans. I
think that's my number one Christmas list. Is just this blows over, COVID finally blows over, and we have full capacity, fans in the stands, screaming their faces off with no worry about accidentally getting a little spit on the person in front of you and killing them.
Yeah, that would be nice. What a positive note to end things on. So for everyone here at the Markdown Podcast, that is myself, Saint Nick, James, who's not with us this evening, Chad, who's not with us this evening, Nick, who is not with us on any evening, and Eric, who is a guy we know, kind of.
And David, thank you again, David, for editing this on your holiday weekend.
Yes, David, thank you. We really would be lost without you. And thanks again to Rev, because you're also going to help. But
thank you.
On behalf of all of us, I want to wish you a happy holidays. That includes, again, Christmas, Boxing Day, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. I said Boxing Day.
Yeah, Festivus, New Year's.
New Year's, yeah. Hopefully I'll see you again before New Year's, but just in case.
Well, I won't, so Happy New Year, everybody.
Take care, spike your hair, whatever you got to do to enjoy this holiday season. Drink your eggnog, drink your coquito.
Hey, I'm making some.
Better, let's be real. But, enjoy the holidays. Have a good time. Enjoy being with family if that's your thing.
Yeah.
Good luck. God.
Stay safe, everybody. Don't.
Yeah, be safe, be considerate, just enjoy yourself. Don't freak out over Starbucks saying happy holidays to you. It's not that big a deal. And yeah, just have a good time. Enjoy the holiday of your choice. Be merry, be joyful. Check out my cool Spyro Christmas sweater. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you for watching the Markdown podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media.
That'll be below and over Danny's shoulder.
Yeah, we'll link it. All you gotta do is click on it. If you made it this far, thank you. And as always, please help us get one step closer to James Rappin. That's on top of his resolution list for 2022. So we need your help getting there.
Yeah, he's been practicing really hard. So we definitely want him to be able to show off his mic skills.
Yes, and I promise you, it'll be worth it. Okay, I have never wanted anything more in my life. It'll be a Christmas present to me. It'll be a Christmas present to you. It'll be a Christmas present to all of us. So please make everyone's 2022 better by getting us to 100 subscribers so James can rap. But again, thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Stay safe. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.